So just how bad is this crisis that we're actually heading into? Well, according to many researchers, they're saying that workers are not coming back to work like they were expected to, and it could potentially lead to an employment crisis. Now, new research is actually showing that several million workers who completely stopped working during the pandemic, they're not planning on coming back. And roughly 3 million people from the workforce, or what they're calling workforce dropouts, they say that they won't continue much of their pre-COVID activities either. Now, these things include activities like shopping in person, whether it's for retail or grocery shopping. They don't plan on dining out, and many don't want to return to work. They're just completely writing that off. Now, the major concern here that many people have is that they're worried about potential illnesses. They're worried about new physical impairments, whether it's from COVID or not. Again, it's different. Some people say they can't lift what they used to because their muscles atrophy. They haven't done physical activity for quite some time, and so things change. Now, what's shocking about all these workforce dropouts is that they're more commonly women who worked in low-paying fields. Now, we've discussed this on the channel multiple times over the past year, that women are less likely to return, and there's multiple reasons behind that. Now, experts predict that women will not come back to these fields unless wages increase substantially. Now, we know that. We know lawmakers have been fighting for this, but the biggest worry, and again, this is something that I've addressed, and lawmakers are talking about this as well, the biggest worry as to why women will not come back to whatever field that they were working in previously is because they have children, and they're worried about their children. They don't want to take their children to a daycare center. They don't want somebody else that they don't really know caring for their child. So they may not come back until their child is in school. Okay, well, let's say a child is 2 years old and he or she doesn't start school until 5 or 6. That means there's 3 to 4 more years where we're going to continue to see women just stay out of the workforce. That is a substantial number, 3 to 4 years, in addition to what we've already gone through. So you're probably wondering, well, why is this a big deal, right? 3 million workers is not a lot of workers. 3 million workers out of 165 million people that are currently in the workforce, that's only 1.8% of our workforce. Now, the number is not the problem. That's not the problem, okay? Is it a problem? Yes. Is it the big problem? According to experts, they say no. The issue is who is not working, women, why they're not working, okay? Potential concerns, and the fields in which they are not working in, okay? Now, just to give you an idea, and I'm going to address some of these fields in just a second, but just to give you an idea, if the pandemic would not have happened, according to researchers, they predicted that 167.7 million workers would be in the workforce today. Okay? That's 167.7 million workers. But today, just 164.9 million people are actually working. So that's a 2.8 million difference. 2.8 million people. Now, again, the majority of these people are women without a college degree, and that's key. And I say this is key because what did lawmakers try to get passed? They tried to get free community college. That's what they tried to get. Now, these women are, a lot without college degrees, and they worked in low-paying fields. These fields included things like hospitality, restaurants, and childcare. Now, why do I exaggerate on childcare? Here's the reason why. According to researchers, women are likely not to go back to work because they don't have somebody to care for their child that they trust. Okay, but women are not going back into the field in which they worked at, which one of is childcare. So do you see the issue here? There's no fix. There's no quick fix. That's a major problem. And this takes us into our next employment crisis. Because what happens if more and more people don't want to return to work? What happens? Well, and what happens if employers are not able to get back to normal operations? Well, according to researchers, they say that we predict that employers will feel the brunt of this employment crisis because of supply chain disruptions. So I was just talking about women not coming back to work. And again, it's the majority of women. I don't want to say every single one. The majority of women, or the majority of the workers that have not come back to work, come back through the pre-pandemic activities, the majority of them are women. But what we are seeing right now, okay, that's the start of the crisis. And then you throw on top of that, right, and the whole thing just compounds, is okay, well, now we have to get through supply chain disruptions. And what we're hearing is that employers are going to find it difficult to hire new workers when supply chains are causing chaos to their business. And they say if this happens, we could see more employers laying off employees and going back to the very basic operations, just like we had during the pandemic. So you remember when you go into a restaurant and they'd say, we have a little bit of a wait. You got to wait outside, but we have a little bit of a wait. It's going to be about 20 minutes. We only got one cook. We only got one person taking orders. Okay, well, that's what we could see go back to. Maybe not all the way back to just one cook, one person, taking orders, but a very smaller group of workers. Now, again, this isn't great news, but what employment experts are saying about this potential crisis, they're saying they're predicting that the employment rate is going to go back up, that it almost has to go back up. Because in order to get back to our normal lives, get back to normal pre-pandemic activities, right? What they're saying is millions of people are going to be impacted. What it's going to do is it's going to force people to get back to their normal lives. But in order to do that, we can't have low unemployment. Because if we have low unemployment, that means, normally it means all the jobs are full. That's not the case here. So again, there's a lot of issues. But some employers say, we will let employees go. They say others will be asked to take on multiple tasks and make up for the lack of employees that we currently have or are going to have in the future. And some say that they will actually ask an employee to take a pay decrease in the toughest industries, in the ones that are going to be impacted the most. They're going to have to take a pay decrease, not an increase. You're not getting a raise. You're almost being demoted. Again, not great news. And this is why experts say that now is the time to get your finances in order. And I saw this comment on one of my other videos that I did months ago. But what happens if we don't have money? Well, everybody has a little bit of something, okay? It doesn't matter if you have $100 to your name or $1,000 or $100,000 or $1 million. Now's the time to see what you can do with paying down debt, put a little bit of money into savings, and figure out a way to put more money in the bank, okay? That means making more money. Now, and I've talked about this before, that you need to figure out a way to make a little bit extra. And it doesn't mean you have to make $20,000 extra per month. Even if you made an additional $50 or $100 per month, at the end of the year, it's something. Now, it may not be the greatest amount of money, but it's something. It's something that can help you through these tough times, all right? So that's what we know, is workers are not coming back to work for a multitude of reasons. And you need to make sure that if somebody is not coming back to work, how is that going to impact you? And according to researchers, every single person will be impacted in one way or another, because the employment rate is gonna have to go back up. So as soon as we get more information on what's really going on and how this is gonna impact hundreds of millions of Americans, I promise I'll be back. I will tell you exactly what's going on, what we can expect, and what's gonna happen moving forward. So again, just want to thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.